Okay, so the next thing we will see is a program called tmux, different names, and this tmux is a terminal multiplexer. So what it does is that it runs on the terminal and it allows us to have multiple tabs within a single terminal and therefore switch between programs in a terminal. We can then detach the tmux while the processes that we had initiated are still running in the background. This is very useful when we connect to a server and we run, for example, a long job. We are still at work and we want to switch off the laptop and continue the next day. So we can leave tmux, run the job in the background, and we can switch off the laptop normally. Otherwise, when we close the SSH, then the process that we have initiated, it will stop as well. Another very cool option of tmux is that it allows multiple people with the same username to work simultaneously on the same code or on the same terminal. This is very useful when multiple people, but they need to have the same username, work on a program, on a project. With some tricks, it also allows the collaboration between different usernames. We'll see how to do that. And in addition, it allows us to work from different machines. So for example, I work at, I write some code at work using tmux or within a tmux session. Then I stop and then I continue from home reattaching to the same session from another computer and continue exactly from the point that I was before while at work. And this is very useful because quite often I'm forgetting at which folder I was working or I'm forgetting what I was doing before. So if I have something like tmux to continue from the point that I was before, then it's something very useful. Okay, let's see how to install it. So I haven't installed tmux in this computer. So what it's very easy, sudo apt install tmux. Okay, it is installed if you want to use it in your own machine, but most often tmux is useful when we work in a terminal. Okay, switch this off. So now I'm in a terminal. I'm in a terminal in a server. So tmux is more useful when we work on a server. Okay, and I start a new session. Tmux new -s. So the command to initiate a new session is tmux new and then -s and then the name of the session. Let's call it code project 1. It's good to specify a useful name here. For example, not something like code project 1 because after some time you will not remember what it is. Let's say that I'm working on language evolution. I will say language evolution. Okay. When I press enter, you see here the green bar that specifies actually that we are in a tmux session. In addition, you see that the name of the session here is called language evol. Okay, it just writes some of the a part of the name here, and then this 0 specifies that what we have opened now is the tab 0, and since we are in a bash, automatically it's called bash, and this asterisk here denotes the current active pane or tab. It's called pane. Okay, so I can rename it. Let's see how to do that. I will just put a screen key here to see what I'm typing. So tmux, like Emacs, has several shortcuts, and you have to learn to work with shortcuts. Okay, so to rename the current pane, P-A-N-E, or a tab, I call it tab sometimes, I have to press Ctrl B, which is the general key for tmux, and comma. Okay, and now you see that it became yellow. I can use the backspace to delete this and write something else. So I will rename it XML, because, for example, I want to run XML in this tab. Enter. Now, if I want to open a new tab, for example, if I want to do an alignment simultaneously, I can press Ctrl B and then C. And now a new tab will be created. And you see that the current active tab is tab number 1, because it's asterisk here. I can rename this as well, Ctrl B, comma, and I will call it maft for alignment. And then I will create a new one, and I will call it R to analyze the results in R. Just an example. This is just an example here. Okay, to switch between tabs, I have to do the following. So the current active one is the tab number 2, the R tab. To go to one, I have to press Ctrl B and then the number that is next to the tab. So Ctrl B1, I go to maft tab, or Ctrl B0 to XML tab. Now you see that the active is XML and the previously active goes maft. So it's easy to switch between the current active and the previously active. Ctrl B, let's see how it is. Ctrl B L, no, I don't remember it. Okay, Ctrl B, let's see. Yeah, Ctrl BN, it's a next, it's a yeah, so the keywords are Ctrl BN for the previously active and Ctrl BP for the, so to go between the previous and the current active, it's Ctrl B. Oh no, sorry, wrong. So this is a mistake. Ctrl BN, I go to the next tab in a circularly. Ctrl BP, I go to the previous tab circularly again. So from 0 I will go to 2. Okay, yeah, this is now the correct. And to switch between the current active and the previously active is Ctrl B and L. So you see here the current active is the 2 and the previously active is 0. So to go to 0, just Ctrl BL. And to go to 2 again, Ctrl BL. And this is because it's quite often that I need two tabs to work, the current active and the previous active. Okay. So I'm in XML now. And let's say that I'm going to this folder. I can do whatever I want. I can run some command here, or I can go here and run some command, and this will continue to run. If I want now to detach the whole session, because I finished my work and I want to continue later on, I will just press Control B and then D. So you see here that it has been detached, and now I'm in the terminal actually, outside tmux. So I can do whatever I want now, but I'm not in tmux. Okay, if I now go to, I leave from work and I go to home and I use SSH again to log into the server, I can reattach to the previous session. So let's suppose that I'm at home now. I use SSH first to log in to the server. And then I just use tmux ls to show all the current sessions with the username student. And I see that there is one session called language evolve and has 3 active windows, 3 active tabs. Okay, to attach, I press tmux I-T and the name of the session. So A is from word attach. You can actually write attach if you want. I just type A. And then use -T for a session that is actually already there, that has been created. Remember that with new you use -S. With attach, with A, you use -T. And now you are in the previous session and exactly at the point that you left it. So you see now the active session, the active window is window number 1. There is a way, so these are the main things for tmux. Now let's try to use tmux between different users. I'm not sure that it will work, so forgive me if something will go wrong. Okay, let's suppose that I want to use tmux between the user student and the user Pavlos. Okay, so I use SSH to log into the server with the user name Pavlos. Okay, so this is Pavlos working here and student is working here. And let's say that these 2 users, student and Pavlos, go to work in the same session. Okay, I detach this one, I don't need it any longer. And the user student will initiate a new session called, let's say, PopGen, for population genetics. But in order for some other user to use it, it needs to specify the socket. So where the information for tmux it will be saved. And usually we put things in TMP. So capital S here, minus capital S, TMP popgen socket, sock, new -S and the name of the session. So this capital S here specifies a file where that will contain all the information necessary for somebody to connect to this socket, to this environment, to this multiplexer. And then as usually new -S popgen. Okay, it has been created. If I detach here, let's see what tmux will show. It will not show that because it's not saved in the usual location. But in order to attach, so you must, this means that you must remember the socket where you create the socket. Okay, in order to attach there, you must again specify the socket and then A-T and the name of the session, and you are back there. Now another thing is that other users do not have any right on that. Only student and the group student. So I must change the permissions. Okay, then just use the 777 here, but maybe you must be more careful here. It just needs use. Let's use the all or others. Read and write. Okay, let's see now. So there is this read and write access there. And now let's see if this will work. Now I'm logged in as Pavlos here, another user. tmux ls, it will not show anything, of course, or another session that the user Pavlos created before. But if I use tmp pop-gen-soc, autocomplete works. So tmp pop-gen-soc a minus t pop-gen, it will work here. So for example, you see, now let's see what means collaboration here. There is a student, this user student that maybe works in some machine, and this user Pavlos that is in another machine. Okay, whatever this user will type, it will be visible simultaneously here. You see that. If this user will clean the monitor, this user will see a clean monitor as well. This means that both of them can write a code. For example, they can work on this R script together. And then the user writes a equals 1 plus 1, and this user might continue typing b equals 1a plus 1. So this is a huge advantage for tmux, that two users or more users can work on the same code. I have used it many times in the past, and it's something very, very beneficial and allows the fast development of the code, fast implementation of the code. Now, of course, tmux requires heavy usage of shortcuts. So the key combination of keys here is Control B, as you saw before. So Control B and C, let's see that, is to generate a new tab. Control B and X is to kill a current window or current tab. Control B, comma, it is to rename the tab. Control BD to detach it, and then use the a minus t here to attach to a session called with this name. Now, if you want other users to be detached from that, so that you will be the only user currently attached, you must type here minus d. And then the only user that will be attached, it will be student, and everyone else or student in another machine will be detached. Of course, you can reattach them, but with this command, everyone else that's currently attached will be detached. Now you see that this one has been detached. But of course, he can reattach again. Sometimes when multiple users are using it, here it will be that you will see some dots, and this is because either the different magnification level or the different analysis level of the monitor. So for example, Here I have zoomed in order to catch the same area, or the same area is assigned here to a smaller area because this is zoomed out. So if I will zoom in again, it will be the same. Okay, that's it.